Good evening, everybody. You can see we're in a little different setting tonight. Tonight we're going to be doing some arts and crafts. I've got some ornaments we're going to be making. So I got a recipe. I like this. I actually found a recipe that's closer to what I was used to working on that I remembered doing as a kid. I was happy for that because I know there's some variations with these. This one actually has the glue in it. Not all of them do. A lot of them have just, because what it is cinnamon applesauce ornaments, but I like call them faux gingerbread because it's really what they smell like the most, especially if you add any other spices to the mix as well. But I like it with glue in there just because I feel like that's a little more preserving. Yep, so I got my drink tonight, so I hope you all are doing good. Hope everyone's got a handle in their Christmas decorations there, or at least getting stuff set up. I'm kind of still in the process of it. It's been a busy couple weeks.
But that lazy husband of yours is done hunting, so.
I wouldn't say lazy. I'd just say it's been a busy season because we've been trying to. But we do have 2 deer now, so we are complete. The freezer is full. We have all of our meat for the year, and I'm excited for that.
I could have had a third, but I was sitting there going, where would I?
We would have to get a second freezer because if you got a third, if you
break.
went for the trophy, because we got 2 big does, we would have to get another freezer or big freezer space from friends of ours. We'll jump right into it. If you hear noise in the background, it's the dehydrator. We have a dehydrator that mostly we actually use for jerky when we make venison jerky. I'm using it for orange slices, so I've got some of those. And then I've also have my batch that I did in the oven. And they actually didn't turn out too bad. Like I said, they ended up a little more brown than I would have liked. But I think that's just because they were old. They were old refrigerator oranges that were on their way out. But they weren't real moldy or real mushy yet, but they were getting there. So I figured for something that was going to end up getting thrown out, it was a good test for them. So I've got some of those done that were done in the oven. And I had some trouble getting them all dried out, but they're dry now. So, like I said, I've got other batches in the dehydrator, so hopefully that should cut down on how brown they get. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get myself a little more organized. As you can see, I've got all my craft stuff still out. My sewing is still out because I actually have another dress that I'm working on that I have not gotten to yet. I need to finish that out. I'm very close, but I actually need time to do that, which has been hard. Things have been very crazy around here. So pull up a carrot and we'll get going. We'll pull that up. So this is the recipe I got, and I will be posting links to this one in particular, because like I said, this is the one that was closest to what I remember doing way back when I did it with my family. We did batches of them, and they smelled amazing. Like I said, as long as you keep them dry, store them in a place where they're not going to get moisture. If anything else, err on the side of caution when you store them and pack them away. Get like those little silicone, oxygen
absorbers.
The oxygen absorber or the moisture absorber. I know you can get, that you can get on probably Amazon. You can get bunches of those. They're not for dried food storage. They're good too. But put a couple of those in a bag or whatever bag or box that you store them away in, and that should keep them nice and dry. But they're pretty impervious. Once they're completely dried and cured, they will last for years and years and years, and they will not lose their scent. They will stay plenty fragrant. In fact, one of my favorite ways of storing them away is not actually to put them with the rest of the ornaments when I pack them away for the year, but instead store them in like clothing drawers, because then they scent the entire drawer, and it's wonderful. So let's see. I think the most expensive thing with this recipe is that you'll run up, because everything else is pretty cheap. I mean, the applesauce is pretty cheap. You can just get generic cheap applesauce is kind of your wet base. And just sprinkles of what other, because you really don't have to add any other spices. I like to, because like I said, I like them to very much resemble gingerbread. So I do have ground ginger and a little ground nutmeg and ground allspice to add into the cinnamon, but you can just go with cinnamon. You will need a whole cup of cinnamon, at least according to this recipe. It says it makes 12 ornaments. I would say you're definitely going to want to double or triple it if you're intending on covering your tree, or even having them to disperse otherwise, because they would be absolutely wonderful in a wreath, I think. And I want to do some of those too, but I need to get more craft stuff. So I have this huge bag of cinnamon because I love baking and I love cinnamon. And I got lucky. My dad actually works as a heavy equipment mechanic on one of the docks by one of the rivers that go through our state. In Illinois, but no, so where he works at is actually a load-off spot for a couple different companies. They're contracted with. He works on the heavy equipment. He doesn't handle the dock stuff. But one of them is called Bakery Feeds, and they actually handle a lot of industrial food overstock. Anything that there could be absolutely nothing wrong with with food that comes from the factories. It's just for whatever reason they can't sell it. Either it's packaging errors, the machine didn't package them correctly, or printing errors, promotions that are no longer ongoing, and they overstock, so they can't then send out packages of goods that are advertising this promotion of promotion no longer going on, so they're stuck with that. Or weight discrepancies. Sometimes the machine will over or under pack the packaging, and obviously they can't, if there's a discrepancy between the weight that's listed on the package and the actual weight of the good, they can't do that. So what they'll do is they'll send it on down the river. They'll load it up in the barges and take it down to their plants, where they will actually grind up all this whatever food. It can be cookies, it can be crackers. There was one instance where there was Oreos that the machine didn't cut apart. So if any of you remember the safety suckers that used to come in the big long ribbons of plastic, you can just imagine like full-sized cartons of Oreos not getting cut apart and just being long ribbons of Oreos, and it's not worth it for them to cut apart by hand, so it was cheaper for them to just send it up to be ground up into industrial animal feed or whatever else whatever else they do with them, grind it up for other things. But as long as the trucks delivering the food make their way in before getting offloaded onto the barges to go down the river to this processing plant, the guys who work there are able to take whatever they want. I mean, obviously no guys can take the entire truck full, but whatever, a few packages here and there of cookies and crackers, as long as the truck makes their weight before offloading onto the barge and sending it on down, they're welcome to take. So we have gotten, my dad has seen the weirdest things come down the river. Like I said, ribbons of Oreo packages. One of them was Cinnabon cinnamon, and this is where I got lucky, because he had this huge bag, industrial sacks from the Cinnabon headquarters factory of good pure cinnamon. But I think in this case there was a weight discrepancy, so they couldn't send it on to their processing factories or wherever they actually make them when it goes from headquarters. So he brought home this huge sack of Cinnabon pure cinnamon. And my mom, who loves baking, a wonderful baker, and she bakes all the time, she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all the cinnamon. This is too much for even me to work with. So she calls me up and says, hey Louise, do you want cinnamon? Because you love baking too. And I said, oh yeah, free spices, I'll take that any day. So I got a couple gallon-sized bags full. I think this is what's left still of the Cinnabon cinnamon, and it's still good. I mean, it's still plenty flavorful, and every time I open it up, I scent the entire kitchen. So I got lucky, and I got this free by chance. So in an obviously special situation, you may not have that. Another suggestion for spices, even for cooking or anything else, is locate, either get them, you can probably get them on bulk at Sam's Club, any big box, Amazon, but locate your local Indian grocery, because that is my favorite spot. It's well worth going out of my way, an hour drive for, because I can find good, because you know they won't tolerate anything less than quality spice-wise, but good quality whole spices and ground. You can get ground bulk bags for dirt cheap. I mean, really, it will not break the bank. I fill up every year, and it's a year's supply of whole spices and ground spices whenever I can get those. So there's a couple options for getting full ones. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling now, but I'm trying to get set up here. Hello, Seal. I'm sorry I missed you there, friend. Good evening. Good evening, good evening. So now, we'll get into it. I have to sit down for this. I don't know if I'm different. I'm kind of filling up the camera there. So now, I've got my big bag, good bulk spots, probably is, cheaper spices, probably any big box, Sam's Club, bulk supply, Amazon. But like I said, really, if you want good spices for cooking, baking, at a really good, pretty decent price, at least from around where we are, Indian grocery stores. Let's get on into it. We need a cup. But first off, at least for one batch that makes 12 ornaments, I'm going to make this like, normally I probably would, like I said, double or triple it, just so you have enough ornaments for your tree or whatever project. But definitely, I'm just going to do one batch at a time, because I know I'm going to be doing this with my family.
Moving slightly back so we see your whole.
Yeah, thank you.
See your whole beautiful
I know,
face.
I tried to get this arranged.
I want to see your whole beautiful face.
So I am going to move this box. But I'm going to be making these with my girls too later. So I don't want to make too many. So I'll just do it a batch at a time, and that way I get a better idea of even how far even one batch will go. Because I know it says it makes 12 ornaments, but I'm fairly certain that also depends on the size of the. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It also just depends on the size of the cookie cutters you're using, or how thick or how thin you roll out the dough here. Oh, it's a funny story at cinnamon. My mom is kind of.
What's the deal with cinnamon?
Oh yeah, well, especially my spice cabinet. I know how your kitchen is arranged, but I have like a corner cabinet, and I have containers of spices go missing. Like, they'll disappear into the ether in that cabinet. So I don't try to fill it up very much, but yeah. But no, that's funny. I've had that happen. I have found stale, expired bottles of spices that just went missing. Well, there you go. At least you have to worry about running out with that thing. Okay, so at least for one batch, because it makes 12, you need 1 whole cup of ground cinnamon. And even though I got a ton of this stuff, I'm probably going to cry when this is, because like I said, this is good ground cinnamon. I love this stuff. I'm going to cry when this is finally, there's none left. And there goes a cloud of cinnamon, so everything smells very festive now. I hope nobody has a cinnamon allergy.
Or you're going to hear me choking in a little bit.
Oh yeah. I need to get out the applesauce. I left it in the fridge because I didn't want to get out too soon. And like I said, just cheap, big jars of it. I got this one that probably needs to go. Cinnamon challenge. Oh yeah. Every time I open up the bag, it's like you gotta kind of stand back away because as soon as you drop the cup into that bag, there'll be the cloud. I don't know how visible that was on camera. But. It says 1 tablespoon in another thing, but I just kind of eyeball it. The other place we kind of get bulk from is actually one of the farm supply stores. They have nice big containers. Not entirely cheap. Probably not as cheap as the Indian grocery, but definitely a fair price for a decent sized kind of bulk container of spices. So that's the other place we go to.
Mushroom
Not something
pie.
you see every. Well, you do see it in this house. This is where you will probably see it once a week, depending on how often I get cooking.
How often you hurt yourself.
Or how it hurt myself is different issue. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I don't care. I actually have a couple. I have that problem right now because I lost a couple of containers of ground cinnamon in the shuffle. So I am kind of getting a little more gracious with that because I am running into that problem because I have a little bit too much. And this one says you can probably get away with, like I said, this is probably something, short of the sheer bulk of some of the ingredients, everything is pretty much on here. It's simple. Cinnamon, applesauce, and glue. Elmer's glue is actually what they call for, but I went ahead and got tacky glue just to make sure I felt like it was a little sturdier. It's going to last a little longer. Let's see. 3/4 cup. I'm going to find a 1/4 cup. Try to dig through all the. Okay, there's 1/4 cup. Yeah. I lost the scissors already. And then 2 tablespoons of basic white glue. And like I said, you can use Elmer's glue, it sounds like, and I think that's what even my folks used when we did it as kids, but I went ahead with tacky glue just because I felt like there was a little extra insurance and it wasn't that much more expensive. Come on. Oh! And there I am, hurting myself. Luckily I did not actually cut myself.
Oh, yeah.
It was hard to cut through. These scissors are not that sharp. That's why they're utility scissors.
It's getting to the point where I have to find time to make films. I'm just enjoying it. I don't think my grandmother is up to the task anymore, and I gotta get out and get mine.
Yeah.
There are a lot of baking I have to find time to do. All those times seem to be a rare commodity for me.
It is. I'm telling you, well, like I said, I've been absent from streaming myself, and it's crazy. I feel for you on that one. I think I can eyeball this fairly easily. Got a tablespoon. I'm going to be a little more generous with the glue. I added probably a little more. That's fine, you can probably adjust it. Adjust is necessary to dry, add a little more applesauce or more glue. Or too wet, add more spice, I guess. I need to find spatula, I don't mind. I completely forgot about that. This one's getting a little ratty anyway, so I think this is just going to be my craft spatula from now on. I'm carefully going to mix this up so I don't get, because the danger is just the cinnamon just slowly mixing it and it's going too fast. Whew. That's right. There we go, I think it's starting to come together a little bit. Oh my goodness, it smells wonderful already. I just have to get a new spatula to replace this one, but like I said, this one has been a little ratty anyway. It's kind of time to go. Okay, this is pulling away fairly well. I was worried it might be a little messy on the sides of the bowl, but it's pulling together. Measuring stuff over there. I'll get everything else for it. Now I worry is wrecking the laptop. By just the cinnamon dust being everywhere. Too bad. I wonder if this should not have actually add a little bit more, but we'll see. It's been so long, I don't even really remember exactly what it was when I did it with my folks. And that was so many years ago. Well, let's just see. I'm hoping this. It does have like the texture of very wet sand. Let's do that. Let me wash my hands real quick. I'm glad I didn't get rid of this one because I am not a fan of this rolling pin. I do have a French rolling pin that I adore. So I was going to get rid of this one at the next church garage sale, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. And the problem is kind of like paper or something. I don't know if this will make well. Which I don't know how, I should have read over how thin it should be. I tried to make them, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and I kind of know how it did. It worked out alright. Yeah, it seems thin enough. I really don't want to do anything. That's 4 inch thick. So yeah, that's more or less. Sprinkle some on there. So I guess it's kind of what you do. You just flour it with more cinnamon as needed. And then it's the gingerbread. I should have done this the other side. Got new Christmas cookie cutters just for the occasion. I made sure to get metal just because I knew I wanted to reuse these for actual cookies as well. So with it being metal and the fact that, I mean, mostly it's applesauce and cinnamon and the glue is non-toxic, but at least with it being metal and not a porous material like plastic, I didn't have to worry about washing and using these for food. since they're, I like it, a non-porous surface, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to really just scrub them down as needed and re-sanitize them and then use them for actual cookies. So that's, I'm glad I tracked these down. So I do have some that are plastic, and I really don't want to use plastic with something I'm going to be using with any amount of glue or anything. It's going to be like something you're not supposed to ingest, like glue. It's got a nice selection now. Not too bad. I'm going to go real traditional though. I'm going to just get some gingerbread men, some more trees. Definitely star. We didn't add them to the Christmas one. So fun. That's so holly. I like that. Oh, it's the reindeer head. I like the leaping reindeer, so I might go ahead and try to see if I can track down an individual ornament of that. Oh, and then you have the ornament. So that works. Of course, a house. Good thing I found out too, playing around with it, if you want to like, since these are basically like faux cookies, that's what I said, a good way to decorate it, should you want to like decorate it instead of just leaving them as is. Oh, where did I put it? Where am I? Scratch stuff. Where did I put everything? What are they? If you get just plain puff paint, that's just not just plain primary colors, no glitter, no fancy stuff, just the straight plain colors, especially white, it does a really good job of emulating royal icing. So you can ice your faux gingerbread cookies with faux icing and it'll look really, really cute. So I got some that I at least got white. I have red, a good plain deep red, so there's good fake royal icing. The green that I had was a fluorescent green, so I really didn't want to use that because it's not what I'm going for. I was trying to see if I had like a nice plain primary green, like basic green. I didn't have it, so I was a little disappointed. But I at least have white. I at least have your white and red, so I at least have some very general royal icing colors there. So there we go. We have a fake royal icing and a fake gingerbread. Put that on the ironing board. Like I said, I have all kinds of craft stuff, including you can see my mound of sewing accoutrements in the background, and that's because I am still working on my sewing projects, including another day dress, which I still need to finish. It's kind of been sitting there for a week, but I've kind of also been very busy for weeks on end, actually, so there is that. So I'm not constantly bending. We'll start moving to the man. I wonder if before I do that though, I think I'm going to try to flip this over and redust it with more sand. Backwards because I forgot to do that. I did not read through that part of the directions, I guess. But I guess I didn't. But it is the way it is. And there we go. Not too bad. You know, I can't wait to do this with the girls because I think they're going to be excited to get to do this project. This is just a really fun project to do. And like I said, I mean, these will keep for years, and they will still smell amazing. I'm going to try to get all these bits where I just pull it out. So now I don't have to pull around and just shake the sheet. Oh, definitely. So I'll probably do that with snowflake. I'll probably go over with my puff paint. Hey, hon, can you get me a baking sheet? Thank you.
I can do it. Without breaking everything.
They do kind of get caught in there. Thank you. And just transfer them onto another hard sheet so they don't lose their shape. And of course, line that with parchment paper. The nice thing about it is these can just air dry. You don't have to bake them or anything. If they end up being too thick, or if you end up, because I actually at one point I made a little faux gingerbread house. Thing. Because when I made it out of a bunch of cut out hexagon that I just stacked up there to make the gem. So it was a solid brick of just this cinnamon applesauce dough to make this itty bitty little gingerbread house. I mean, it was solid, and it took forever to get dry. I actually did have to end up putting it asking Mom's permission to put it in the oven to dry it out completely, because the center and the bottom of it was still so mushy even like a week later. It was sort of fine, put in the oven to kind of get the rest of the moisture out. And then it was fine. Once we ran it through the oven, it dried up and it was fine. But I went ahead and I decorated it. I got out a set of puff paints that I had, and I iced it like a little gingerbread house, and it came out so cute. I was so proud of that little thing. My mom still has it. I put it out of her Christmas. There's that. I'm just going to very carefully take these out. There we go. Okay. It can come out. That's not too bad. You didn't break it, at least. Come on. Come on. There we go. I was kind of sweating it for a minute. I just didn't want to come out and say, please don't break them. There's the real struggle even between real cookies and fake cookies. Don't break. Don't break it. So I have to see if this actually did make 12, like I said, or I need to find, because these are actually pretty small cookie cutters. These really aren't like huge cookie cutters. I like the variety, like I said. I'm not crazy about the deer one just because I don't like the deer head shaped ones. I like the leaf. I'm more of a traditionalist. I do like the leafing deer better as far as, I guess, tier themed cookie cutters. Because I'm such a connoisseur of them, I guess. So it's kind of nice that there is like a little house-shaped one, because that does kind of take me back a little bit to my very proud moment of making a whole gingerbread house out of this stuff. Okay, so let's see, we got 8, and we still have a mound of the scraps to rework, which will probably end up being a little bit easier now that they've been dusted and reworked again. Probably end up a little better texture and consistency than the first. I'm going to wash my hands one more time, and I'll be right back to dust this and cut out some more. I'm going to be smart about this and actually use my cinnamon little dispenser shaker, so I don't have to keep actually reaching into the bag, washing my hands in between, and getting the bag to get more dusted, contaminate that. This house will smell like cinnamon until I die. I've gone into it with sufficiently cinnamon-fied house. Remove that before there is a cinnamon disaster. Stockings and mittens. I just really might roll that one end a little too thin. But we'll see. Either way, I think we're doing pretty good here. Maybe a star in there. Come on. There we go. Oh, it's stuck. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Okay. Very good. Almost lost a mitten. Come on. Oh no. Oh no. The good news on blue. There we go. Yeah, because the paper's getting damp at this point. Probably just sticking because no one. Paper. There we go. Just fix those points there. That one too. Okay. So we do have. Oh, we do have 12 and still left over. Okay. So we didn't do too bad. And it wasn't too thin. Okay. I was a little worried there that I rolled it one end too thin and you just end up like cracking. Looks like it did okay. Like I said, still have like a ball of cinnamon dough to work with, so. Yeah, she wasn't too far off. Okay. I mean, that's at least 12, and this is probably at least 2 more. And before I go too much further, there is one other thing I need to grab, and I almost forgot, is to get a straw and punch a hole in them, because by the time they're dry, I think short of getting like a drill or a Dremel, you're not going to be able to get a hole through them unless you're like needle threading them. But if you want to put like a nice sturdy, I mean, I've got like, I found this darling yarn. It's actually, you know, red and green and white, so I could use that to hang them with. So I'm going to go ahead and get that straw and start punching holes in these. I have one last like good big fat one. Put the paper down a little more flat to the you probably want to. Don't go too close to the edge, because like I said, otherwise it will just crack and snap. Just go out. Is a thinner straw, actually. Like I said, I mean, I like and the fact they are smaller is going to be nice because then they won't be too heavy on the tree. And you could hang them on pretty much on the tree and it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, with them being so small, it's hard to put like a good sized hole in them. without, you know, having the issue of like being too close to an edge. Is the only issue that I'm seeing. Here's the ornament, that little knob at the top of the ornament. It's actually perfect behind you. It's just too small. Because now we're getting really dry. Now it's soaked up all the extra cinnamon that dusted with it. So now it's underneath a little more dry side, so I'm not going to bother redusting for the last couple of onions here. Yeah, we can do. I kind of want one more star again. Right again, stars please. Probably the stars like the bigger ones. Just feel like hang out for a bit for a change. Now that I have my ornaments and self-skin, which is nice. I'm glad you do because I know you've been working so hard. Night off. Well, you too, Seal. You have a good evening too. Get some rest. It was good having you in for a little while. I wish you all the best, friend. Have a good night. So I'll definitely have to post in the Discord maybe a couple pictures from when me and my girls do it, because I know they'll be excited to do this one. I think they'll be real excited to make these and have them on the tree. And so we may not get to the oranges yet, but I think there's a couple other things I kind of want to get to go with them. I think one is I want to see if I can dry some now it's getting I wanted to see if I could dry some cranberries to actually make like the garland, or to maybe like as beading for the oranges to go with them. So we'll have to see about that. Or even find maybe some red wooden beads, see if I could find some wooden beads that I could stain to have some faux cranberries. I have to worry about drying out real, but we'll see. We'll see. I want to look up a couple other ideas for making just individual orange slice ornaments, or even just, I guess they're pretty enough. Honestly, just how translucent they are, they're kind of pretty enough just hanging on their own. They kind of do look like little stained glass windows in the camera, but one last little ornament right there. Hopefully they won't be too small. I think we got it. After all, this is faux gingerbread. Should have a few more gingerbread men. Oh, this one might be a little thicker. Long hard for a squeeze in one of the access. I'm stuck to the sheet. Okay, carefully move the other side. Oh yeah, he's quite a bit thicker than that. He may take a little time to dry. No.
What?
My hands are sticky.
Oh, and the stream.
No.
Oh.
Stay on now.
Oh, I missed it, sorry.
Not.
Sorry, I was playing games.
And I think we got one last little cookie and so a lot of dough. And I'm running out of room on the cookie sheet. I know there's more, but like I said, there's some I'm just not crazy about it. I kind of want one that can stand on their own, as you can tell what they are. Let's do the snowman. A little snowman. I will say,
Liquid?
one batch went pretty far. How many do we used to make in here? We're up to 15, so like enough for like one tiny little ornament. So 16, that isn't too bad. I was afraid that maybe it's like, well, mine are, but then again, mine are smaller. I don't know how big. Because that's the only discrepancy is like, you know, I suppose it is the best guesstimate of how many this will make per batch. But considering the project, it really does depend on how big your cookie cutters end up being. Mine aren't that big, so I don't know further. And I don't think the lady who wrote the recipe, and like I said, I have links to those in the Discord. For anyone who wants to follow along and make these, I'd encourage it because, like I said, I adore these. And even as if you want to cut out some to use as like drawer fresheners or have them hanging up in the closet, they work for that really well as well. So yeah, definitely, it could be like a year-round project. If you really want to get creative with it, there's probably bunch more like applications for it for different things. If you're into like the country rustic the way I am, because that's pretty much my life is country rustic. I'm living it and it's not just an aesthetic. It is my reality. But, which I don't mind at all. I love it that way. But yeah, this is actually fun stuff to be playing with, even if it stains your hands a little bit. My hands are kind of going to be like that little reddish brown for probably a little bit, a couple days. But they smell fantastic. I mean, I gotta say, it's almost making me hungry for actual Christmas cookies. That smells amazing. Come on. Bag as a whole is not. Oh dear, no. It's too thin. I'll try to patch this one. Yeah, those are the only problems with tiny ornaments. The full is getting substantial enough full ornaments is hard. It's just not enough time. Oh, it is stuck to the paper. This paper has been so thoroughly saturated with any moisture that's in this letter. And we still have a knot left. I mean, we're up to 16. I don't think I can squeeze another one into the pen. Maybe I can. Maybe if I use the holly, because I think that might actually be narrow enough. I can use one of that. Cool. Let's see. If so, this back will stretch to like 17 ornaments, which is pretty generous. Must say. Yeah, where did the paper go? Actually, I don't have to actually touch it. And I'll just sanitize the handle and then. So obviously, if you have like a little shaper like this, it makes it so much easier. Oh yes, it does. Oh, perfect. It's perfect. Could be a little holiday. There we go. Hopefully that's not too thin. I'm hoping. Maybe it should be too thin. I don't want to break. This is not. Okay. I think that's about the end of it. That's about as far as I'm going to go. We only have this little bit left, and it's not. There's not enough of it going on. Decide where I want to do the last of it. I mean, suppose if you had like some fancy like stamps, you could probably like stamp a little disc of it, and like I said, just use it as like a drawer freshener. Would be nice. I don't know how well they work as jewelry. I think if you're going to use them to make like little cinnamon pendants, you probably have to seal them up, and then that would kind of defeat the purpose of them smelling at all. I don't know. Like I said, experiment. But if you join the Discord, there's a link there that I post in there to the instructions I got for drying the oranges actually. If you don't have a dehydrator like we do, I actually did, like I said, I did the first batch just in the oven, and it worked out really well. And I'll also have to link to the cinnamon applesauce ornament dough as well. So go ahead and check us out there. Always a bunch of stuff going on. We have all kinds of stuff posted, from recipes to art projects. Everybody's has questions and all kinds of stuff. Okay. I will do a circle maybe. No circle cooking. So technically 18, I guess, is what we're up to. Include just the tiny little bits of dough. Oh my goodness. So there's one batch. I don't think, like I said, especially considering how far one batch of dough went, I'm not going to make a second batch tonight, because like I said, I still want to have, and I probably will make a few more, because like I said, they'd be really wreaths, I think. If you're going to do like a candy or a cookie themed wreath, they'd be really cool. I mean, like I said, smell amazing. Like I said, I kind of want to hold off on doing any more by myself until I do another batch with my girls, because they'll get a kick out of doing that. If I feel like I need any more after that, I definitely will probably make another batch just by myself. I'll go ahead and get that cleaned up. Even the ones we didn't use, I'm going to get washed. They're ready for cookies or anything else. Picked up, put away. Take out even. And like I said, these, as long as you don't do like me and try to make a brick of the dough to make a gingerbread house, they should air dry just fine. I think if you let them overnight, for the rest, see how long she left it for. Yeah, they should dry in 24 to 48 hours. And then occasionally they dry evenly, so yeah. So about that. So I'd say give them a good day to dry. Turn them over just to make sure that they're drying evenly, so you're not stuck with a soggy bottom and just crusty top. You don't end up with cracking either, just from uneven drying. So there's our faux gingerbread. And my goodness, does it smell like gingerbread. It really, really does. So there is an issue of, if you have very small children who don't quite get the concept of these are fake, be very careful. Like I said, not that I think anyone would severely hurt themselves. They'll be surprised when they bite into it and find that it's entirely too hard to chew. But like I said, even the glue involved is non-toxic, and everything else is it's cinnamon, applesauce, and a minuscule amount of glue compared to how much of the cinnamon and applesauce you actually use. But the glue does help, I think, bind it and preserve it a little bit more, a little better. Because actually, my younger siblings, that actually happened with I can't remember who it was, but one of the ones that was just starting to walk at the time, reached up the tree and started grabbing off the ornaments, thinking they actually were cookies and trying to take a bite out of it. I think we have actually one or two of those original ornaments that have like tiny little teeth marks from them trying it. The thing is, though, it only lasted like one attempt before they kind of got the idea of like, these, I can't bite into these. These are entirely too hard. So that it was a funny moment. No one got hurt. No harm, no foul. Nothing was actually ingested. I think it only took to the first bite of trying to get through the cookie that they realized that this is not for me. But no, so this was fun, and this was a fun walk back in memories. So I enjoy this, and I'll enjoy having these on my tree and getting to continue that craft project and having those memories with my own girls. Just as I hope you all have fun with it too. Like I said, if you make any of your own, please join our Discord and post your ornament projects, because I'd love to see them. I always love to see what you guys are up to. And I think I'll put these aside so they will dry uninterrupted. Well, there, in that kitchen. That is full. I'll put some of these things away. Oh, this needs to go back in the fridge. Do not regrab this off. I thought about maybe putting a little bit on now, but I think it's best to wait till they're fully dry before putting any kind of paint or anything on them. This seems like the best course, just so it actually dries and nothing stays overly soggy. Water side. I did bring out some of the whole spices that I had. Just to see if you want to do something with the orange slices. I think I am going to excuse myself to wash my hands one more time, and I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm going to grab this sanitary wipe. So I don't end up knocking everything over. I'm just going to wipe up the cinnamon mess. What's left of it. Get everything else out. There we go. Say something like that. Terry. Okay. I'm just making practice won't cooperate. So, these are my orange slices that I did in the oven that I dried out, and I just took a, like a cooling rack and then a cookie sheet and just put the cooling rack on top of the cookie sheet and then the orange slices on top of that. So then you have some airflow in between. Check times again. One second, I got this out there. Yeah, you just take, you get like a cooling rack, put it on top of the cookie sheet, and then put the slices, arrange the slices you want to do on top of that. You do want to cut them thinly, so they do dry out. And in the oven, it's baked at 200 degrees for 4 to 6 hours, because you do want them to gradually just kind of dry out completely. Because mine ended up a little more brown. I think there may be a couple reasons for that. It was just because, first of all, they were very old ones. They weren't totally gross or anything, but they definitely were past when they would have been best to eat. They were getting a tad mushy, a tad cringy. So I said, why, instead of just tossing them out, I might as well at least test with them, so I don't waste like totally good food before I completely know what I'm doing. And, like I said, instead of wasting, why not turning them into something else? So yeah, they were a little past prime to start with. Second of all, they took far longer to dry out, and I think that's because I was worried that they would actually stick to the cookie, to the cooling rack. So I put a sheet of parchment paper underneath them, and that just held in. It soaked up all the moisture from the oranges and held it there. And they didn't really dry out as quickly or as efficiently as they should have, so I think that may have contributed to why it was a little bit darker and less vibrant. I mean, granted, they're not going to be as vibrant as when they're fresh. You dry it out, and it's going to kind of oxidize and turn it brown. But I think these end up a little more so than they should have been. And like I said, some of these are very unevenly cut. I try to do my best to cut them good. I would suggest highly getting a mandolin slicing apparatus to help with that. And that will help regulate and give you much thinner, much more uniform slices, unlike my horrible cutting top. This needs you get a needle here, so I think you do actually need and try to find my thickest needle to kind of really start a hole. Right there might just get a skewer if I can start. Where's that from? I did get closer because I figured these would be. They would need something like that. This is definitely going to make a few holes. I could be wrong. It could be fine with a bigger hole. I just think maybe a smaller hole would be more effective. You do whatever method you find is best for cleaning the flavor. And I'm finding the end. The age-old question, where is the end of the school, or where is the end of the run? Whichever. That was really loose leaf, but I know it's not the end. Oh, there it is, okay. I found it, yay. I was a little worried. I was sitting here like a weed the entire time looking for this end of thread for the next half an hour. I did go with kind of my fatter embroidery needles. Maybe I thought some screws. If I can reach it, I don't have to go out to. There we go. And actually, she and hers, the lady that gave me instructions for drying out the oranges, the way she did it is she got some brown thread and actually stitched on a piece of star anise onto the center. So there's like a little spice star in the middle. I'll show you. I actually do have plenty of brown thread out because the dress I am currently working on is brown. So that's a whole star anise. Spice. So that's a whole star anise, and that's what she kind of has. The way she shows it, she's actually sewed it onto the center. Like that. So I might try that. I don't know. I kind of want to just try them hung by themselves. The original thought was actually to find some like little plaid or buffalo check ribbon and tie a little bow on the top of each of them. There. And once again, with the storing of these, I think I would definitely suggest the same thing if you really want to make sure that they're good and secure when they're packed away. Same with the faux gingerbread is get some of the silica packets and put like a, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 6 in there per gallon size bag, just to make sure they stay nice and dry. And it's about as easy as that, really. And it's just one big, I mean, this is probably way too much, but like I say, I do all kinds of thread crafts too, so I know I'll be using this crochet thread. size 10. So this is actually a pretty, it's sturdy enough, but yet thin enough to not make too big of a hole through the orange slice. So I'd say this is pretty good size. It's size 10 crochet thread. I wonder if I could just glue like the leaves on the goose. It would be more secure if I just stick it down. We'll try that. Might as well. Yeah. On the other already open. Oh yeah, there we go. So my bulk cotton threads. I'll be honest with you, it does feel a little weird stitching on through. I must say I've never actually done that before. Here's my guy. I suppose if you glued it and then just stitched it, it'd be better. Make it more secure. And then I just fold it down so you know it's wide. We're just going to do this stuff and just sew down. Sew it down. You do it on that thread getting tangled. I'm supposed to find it. I can't imagine you're going to play this on quite as tight as a button, but sometimes it takes a mouth, so it's not going to just pop off. And you find like little pieces of sun all over the floor along with the pine needles. I can't imagine that would be very cool. It might smell nice, but it would not be. It thick. We like triangles. Smells very nice. Wouldn't want it. The only problem is it's really not good on the bread. It's getting so twisted up. It's just not in itself. How many times am I doing? I think I'm getting to the point where it's probably too tied off. Yeah, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty sweet. I don't think it's really tolerating the cast. It's too hot to do that. Proper tomatoes. It's just so twisted around. That looks good. Yeah, I kind of like it. And it honestly, it's a little tedious, but it was not long. It did not take very long to do. I mean, granted, if you're doing a whole bunch of them, you may get sick of doing it. I will say that. Like I said, it's a good variation. I mean, there's a ton of stuff you can do with them. Like I said, kind of my plan is I kind of want to do some garden ones and some wreaths if I have the time to do it. But definitely making ornaments just to hang on the tree. I think even by themselves they'd be pretty. Because like I said, just kind of how transparent they are. Just kind of looking like a little rose stained glass window from like a cathedral or something. Be pretty by themselves. Or even just tying them off and then putting like a little festive little ribbon bow on top would be really nice. The one thing I'm wondering is how brave I want to be and maybe attempt a popcorn garland for the tree. My only fear is that I have 2 little girls, and very soon that popcorn garland is going to be a singular string running all through the tree, and there will be no popcorn left on it. So I think that one I might hold off on unless I can find a reasonable facsimile popcorn. Once again, a faux popcorn. Yeah. I think that's the only way that's going to work in my house. I have 2 little girls that are ravenous by the time they wake up, and I think a whole string of popcorn just encircling this entire tree may be a tad too tempting for little children and their favorite treats. It's kind of like wanted to do, and I like the pop of red, honestly. I always kind of like the idea of doing like a cranberry garland. And I like some of the ideas I saw of actually threading them with orange slices or even sticks of cinnamon. And can you imagine how wonderful that would smell? Because these orange slices, I mean, they still smell like just like concentrated orange. So even these are going to smell absolutely fantastic on the tree. The garland of just cinnamon sticks and dried cranberries and orange slices. I mean, it would look absolutely beautiful, just with the oranges and the reds and then the rich brown. But it would smell amazing too. So then I might have the dehydrator working overtime just to dry out all these various fruits. But like I said, the other option I think I'd get away with if I found a pack of like wooden beads and then stained or painted them red, I think I could get away with that. But it just wouldn't be the same as smelling them. The only downside of having wooden beads stand in for cranberries is they just wouldn't smell as nice. And I'm dropping my pencil over this. There we go. Problem with some of these greens is just not so right. I don't know what you call it. guessed on that. We had been under a wind advisory for quite a few days. I was kind of hoping that would get lifted. Quite as even, but like I said, the middle is still kind of raised, and then this one is a lot rounder than the other one, so it didn't quite sit straight, but I guess some of the beauty is in the imperfection. Like I said, it's tad tedious to do. Doesn't honestly take that long though. And they're real pretty. I like them a lot. Like I said, I'm not going to do them all like that, because I do want to have some variation. There's other ideas I want to try doing with them too, as far as ornaments and other decorations as well. I think that might do it for me though, because I still need to get settled in myself this evening. It's getting tad late. Got a busy day tomorrow. But thanks for hanging out, and this was fun to do. I haven't gotten to do a crafting stream in a long, long time, so this is my other favorite things to do. Is just sit and kind of just fade away. So I appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. It was fun to get to do. I'm glad I had a chance to do one of these again. It's been too long since I did a crafting stream, so it was good. It was a good evening. So thank you all so much for coming in. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wouldn't be here doing it without any of you. And as always, I wish you a very good night, good rest, good day tomorrow. Much love to you all, and Christ's blessings. A blessed Advent and a blessed Christmas tide to you all. Thanks again, and have a good night. Bye.